I want to thank Rabbi Ari again for such a beautiful Shabbos together. Tremendous chizik and a great way to catapult us into the Yom HaNorayim. I want to publicly thank all the sponsors for this weekend, Avi and Dina Stein, in honor of their cousin, Rabbi Bensoussan. Bensoussan and Avi are first cousins. By Yudah and Sarah Walper, as a Slichos for all the HaChaim and Klal Yisrael. By my mishpacha, on the occasion of my father's 4th yahrzeit on the second day of Rosh Hashanah. And tonight's Kumzitz is sponsored by David and Shira Chepowitz, Leili Nishmas, Zachariah Shimon, Ben Rav Yitzchak, HaChaim Wallerstein, Zecher Tzadik L'Bracha, who David was so close with, and all these types of events are a tremendous gilui for his neshama. It's my schus to introduce again, Rabbi.
How we doing, everybody? A good tavach. We say in the Slichos tonight, and I'd like to actually welcome all the Ashkenazim to the world of Slichos. It's about time you got your head in the game. We've been doing it since Elul, and I have to tell you, you're missing out. I'm sorry. I firmly believe when Mashiach comes, he's going to look around and he's going to say, Rabbi say, Slichos starts, because by the Spartam, we sing the whole thing. Every single morning when we get together, we sing every single part. Atanu. There's a certain kind of a heart that goes into it. And you all know the famous one. So, and if you don't, you can go to any Israeli disco club in Tel Aviv during the month of Slichos. They Baruch Hashem, they throw it in there. And in understanding of the fact that Elul, from the beginning, Svarim bring an incredible piece. Meisachar talks about this, that if you take the name of Hashem, if you take the name of Adoshem, Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yud, and you spell it out completely, Aleph, Aleph, Lamed, Fei, and Dalet, Dalet, Lamed, Taf, and if you go through it, each one of them, starting from Chodesh Nisan, each one of them have its own certain letter in the name of Adnut. And when you go through it from Nisan to Iyar, and you keep on going through, it turns out that Tammuz has Dalet, Av has Lamed, and so in Tammuz and in Av we're Dal, we're very weak, we're very poor. Dal means very thin. And then when you add the Taf of Elul, so that spells Delet, that spells a door. And we say that right now, what we just said now in the singing, we are Kidalim Uchrashim Defaknu al Dalatecha. What that means is, says Rabbi Waxman in explaining this, that we are Kidalim, we're like Dal, we're coming just completely impoverished, we're coming completely just not prepared to come and speak to the king, but we're knocking out Dalatecha with the Taf of the Delas on Hashem's door of Elul. It's known that the month of Tammuz and Av that belonged to Esav, and the month of Elul as well, and Yaakov Avinu went and pulled away that month from Esav. He always pulls at the end, he pulls at the heel, and so he was able to pull at that last month that belonged to Esav, and so we got the Deles, we got the door, we got that open, and now when it comes to Slichos tonight, we're knocking on heaven's door. We're trying to knock our way into it, and we're trying to say, Eivishter, although we're not prepared and although we're not ready to ever come and to be able to speak to you, but ultimately this is who we are and this is how we're coming. And let's be honest, a Yid in 2022, what do we have exactly? What is it that we're coming to a Rosh Hashanah with? So we're coming impoverished, we're coming without much merit, but at the same time, there is, I believe, one thing that we can come with. And I believe that we can come with this concept of that we can say, Hashem, you're hidden. It's a time of such terrific hester. It's a time of just not being able to see you. And we always try to see you in everything. We are trying to see you. There's no question that there isn't a time that you speak to another Yid, that there isn't a Baruch Hashem, or that there isn't a, this is what Hashem wants. Hashem, we are trying to see you. And honestly, coming together on a late Shabbos and staying up so late and literally knocking on Hashem's door, saying, the rest of the year we were trying to see you, and now we're trying to enter into a relationship with you yet again. We're trying to come back to you, Eibishter, please let us in. So this is a story that I told over actually at the yeshiva. I don't know if you guys know, you'll have a weird accent, right? You know, you say the word yeshiva like a very odd. I know you think I'm crazy, but the rest of the world says the word yeshiva. And you come over the Chicago line, and all of a sudden it turns to a yeshiva. I don't know what happened. I'm not sure who lied to you very many years ago. But hey, look, I guess, different strokes for different folks. So I was in Skokie, and I said over the story, I'd like to share the story with you now as well. So I have been to Chicago a few times, and it's never been a good experience up until now. I came in the winter time. So I don't know. I came to whatever it was, 12, 13 feet above, where, on top of all the snow. So I didn't come into Chicago proper. It was just absolutely freezing. I came once or twice to come do recruiting over here. And then there was one time that we came here because we were on a flight. I'll make the story a little bit shorter. We're on a flight coming from Eretz Yisrael, and it was on a Swiss Air flight that we had to stop over in Switzerland. And all the flights were starting to get canceled. We were flying to JFK. And in JFK, there was a massive snowstorm. And all the flights that were going to JFK were being canceled left and right because it's a snowstorm. One flight decided that they have the guts, that they have the ability, they have the wherewithal to make it through. Swiss Air decided, and I mean, our pilot, his name was Hans. I'll never forget when we got on the plane, the guy must have been out of his mind. There must have been this meeting where, all the Swiss people were like, yeah, and look, all of them are all canceling their flights. I think we have to cancel our flights as well. And Hans got up and said, "Nein! We will not cancel our flights. We will be going, but I will fly the plane myself." And sure enough, Hans got on the thing, and Hans said, This is your captain speaking. Good. My name is Hans. You will listen to these instructions because not if, but when you're going to need them, you will be very sorry if you didn't listen right now. We are flying into the belly of the beast." And he really gave us the instructions of what's going to happen. Sure enough, we were about 20 minutes. It was a long flight. We're about 20 minutes out. I'm there with my wife and my kids. It was they were all crying on the flight. Baruch Hashem, JFK is right there. In a few minutes, we're going to land. My in-laws will pick us up, and that's it. It was Thursday night. Baruch Hashem. And Hans gets on the loudspeaker, and Hans says, "Yeah, this is Hans speaking again. I'm your captain." Like, we know Hans. It looks like somebody shut off JFK. I don't know how you shut off an airport, but somebody went into it, just turned off the airport. Obviously they did. There was a massive blizzard. And so he said, "But don't worry, we will land inside the closest airport that is open to the JFK, and we will be okay." That rhymed. And he was so proud. So I figured, all right, we'll go to Newark. I'll call my in-laws and I'll tell them. He said, "Okay, we just got back to the airport. We're going to be landing, like we said, in the closest airport. We're going to be landing in a place called Chicago." Like, no, there's no chance. And sure enough, Hans turned around the flight to the one airport that has no problem with all the snow you can throw at it. Chicago's just like, yeah, no, we do this all day. We do this all day for 9 months straight. Montreal's got nothing on us. Bring it, yeah. So sure enough, we turn around the flight. We fly a few more hours over to Chicago, and we land on this frozen tundra that you call home. We get here, and they put us up inside a hotel for the night. The next morning we get out, and it's Friday morning, and it's the winter months, and so Shabbos obviously comes in early. There we are, and the airline, Swiss Air, made 2 flights to be able to accommodate. There was one flight that was leaving at about 10 o'clock in the morning, and if you got on that flight, you're going to make it to JFK on time. And there was another flight leaving at about 12:30 in the morning. And if you're on that flight, you were not going to make it in for Shabbos. So Baruch Hashem, when we showed up, we found out that my family and myself, we were on the 10 o'clock flight. Baruch Hashem, we're going to make it in for Shabbos. And then, all of a sudden, this kid comes walking up to me. He's about 18, 19 years old. And you had to see his afro. It was like an afro that turned into dreadlocks. I'd explain it to you. It was like this big poof. He looked like, you guys know Sideshow Bob from The Simpsons. just like this massive, no, really? Hello, Bob. You know him? So it's just massive, just fro. And he comes walking up and he's like, hey, you a rabbi? So generally when that happens, I always say no. Just no, I'm not. Please, weirdo, just stay far away from me. But my kids were with me, and my kids were like, yeah, my father's a rabbi, he's the best rabbi. And then, shut. And the guy's like, look, I got a problem, maybe you can help me. I said, sure, Bob. what can I do for you? And Bob Marley said to me, he said to me that, look, he said, I was on your flight coming in from Eretz Yisrael. He said, I just started to keep Shabbos again. He said, yeah, I grew up in Muncie, I went off to Derek a little bit, and now I'm trying to get back. I just started to keep Shabbos again. He said, the problem is I'm on the 12:30 flight. He said, I already spoke to the lady behind the counter, and I called over the supervisor. He came over. I got my father on the phone, who's a frequent flyer, with the whole chevra. We tried to use everything. And they said, I'm sorry, there is nothing you can do. It's been set already from the night before when the flight landed. There's a 10 o'clock and there's a 12:30. Ein maladaber. You are on the 12:30. I said, did you try to pull the? He said, I tried to pull the religious move, and I told him, show. Nothing worked. He said, Rabbi, do you have something that I can do? So I looked at him and I said, do you believe that there's a HaChaim? He said, well, I said, do you believe that there's a HaChaim? He said, yeah. I said, because for this to work, we got to get through you have to push away all the veneer. You mamish have to believe that there's an Eibishter. He said, I believe. He said, I believe that there's a HaChaim. I said, okay. I said, so now, if Hashem is doing this to you, Hashem wants you to keep Shabbos. If Hashem is doing this to you, it's because He's demanding something from you. What does Hashem want from you? The first thing that pops into your mind. What does Hashem want from you? And the kid said, what's this week's parsha? I said, this week's parsha Shemais. He said, Shemais, that's Shnai Mikor Vecha Targum. I said, how far off the derech? It's your knee-jerk reaction to Shnai and Mikor Vecha. Holy moly, there must be a mother out there crying her head off. Hashem Atzon. So he said, Shnai Mikor, he said, and then he just looked up, he said, Hashem, I will give you Shnai and Mikor Vecha Targum this week if I get on the earlier flight. If you can get me home for Shabbos, I'll give you Shnai and Mikor Vecha Targum this week. I said, wow, that's amazing. I said, but now, here comes the important part. I said, now that you said to Hashem, you got woken up, Hashem wanted something. Now that you said that to Hashem, I want you to look, and we're standing right there in front of the Swiss counter. I said, what do you see? He's like, I see the Swiss, and who's standing behind the Swiss counter? He said, oh, the lady working there. I said, no, it's not, that's Hashem. It's like, that's weird that you, I'm like, I mean, that Hashem is everywhere, and that there's no lady, there's no counter, there's no supervisor, there's nothing else. Ein oid novadai. There is nothing else but Hashem. You have to be able to see Him everywhere and everything, and walk up to the guy, and as you walk up, just say, Ein oid novadai. Say, Eivishter, I made this deal with you. I want to keep Shabbos. Please give me this opportunity. Now, at that point, we're already starting to get late, and security, we had to get through with my kids. So I said to the guy, goodbye, B'ezrat Hashem, I hope to see you on the flight. We get through security, it takes a little time, and we get to the other side. About 20 minutes later, Sideshow Bob comes walking up. He comes with a big smile on his face. He comes walking in, and I said, no? He's like, you know what happened. I said, buddy, come on. Give me the good story. Let me hear it. He said, Rabbi, it was the most incredible thing. I walked right back up to that supervisor, that same guy who we tried so hard to. I walked up to him and I said to him, hi, can you help me? He said, what's up? And I told him, like I told you, I'm on the 12:30 flight. I need to get on the 10 o'clock flight. Could you please help me? He said, all he did was ask for my information. He started to type it up. He printed out a new ticket and said, here you go. You're on the 10 o'clock flight. And Zehuza. Rabotai, Hashem is everywhere. And when it comes to Slichos now, you can go into Slichos with this feeling of another year of us having to come and schlep our feet. Or we can come into Slichos understanding that you're coming with a tzibur. You're coming with everybody together. You're coming with such a beautiful community. And that we're knocking now the Taf of El, the Deles, that we're knocking on now. And we're saying to the Eivishter, Hashem, you have tried to hide from us in every single way possible because that was the Gzeirah. That was the decision that Hashem made to put Himself in Hester Panim. And that was the greatest challenge for us. But every single year that we get our game face on, And it comes to Slichos every single year. It's us saying you can't hide anymore. We've seen you in every single detail, and now in plain view, we're coming to tell you we may not be holding. We may not have a lot of zechuyot, but we do have the sight. We do have the ability to see you, Hashem. And with that, we want to come back to you. So now, Rabotai, this room is very dry. I mean, aside from there's no alcohol, which is a shame. But this room, I thought Chicagoans can drink. I don't know. Okay, I don't know if that's. I don't know if it's a bad thing. In LA, when we have our mishmar together, so it's a bunch of drunken sailors. So so generally speaking, so it is Slichos. This is true. Again, Sfardim, the Arak is still flowing by Slichos. It doesn't make a difference for us. It's just Tuesday. It doesn't really make a difference. So Baruch Hashem, we have each other though, and if we don't sing right now, if we don't get ourselves going, if we don't start to really kick up some dust over here and really start to get into it, so that when we get into Slichos itself, it's going to feel like that same old humdrum bum bum ba-dum bum ba-dum, right? It's just going to have that same old Darth Vader feeling of like, ugh, like we have to do this. Or we can go in there with this incredible feeling of, yes, we're going into Slichos. This is awesome. I get to say Hashem, Hashem, Kel Rachum. I get to go and to have this connection with Hashem. I get to really speak to Him. I get to say to Hashem, I may not be worthy. I may not be holding. Chatanu, do you understand the chutzpah of Chatanu Lifanecha? To say to Hashem that I'm chet in front of you, Barachem Aleinu, have Rachmanut on us. We get to do that tonight as long as we're coming together as a tzibur. So please stop being so Ashkenaz tonight. I'm begging you. And just get into it. Enjoy the fact that there's an Eibishter who loves you so much and wants to hear from us. He's just waiting there. The door is there. It's waiting for us to knock down and be open. So right now we're going to get into another Zemer. And everybody, please, together, let's start to sing our way into Slichos.